One of our most anticipated movies of 2019 is literally, it's right here. We're right into 2019 and Glass is here. It's the crossover between Split and Unbreakable, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Let's move into the meat of today's episode, our review of the newest M. Night Shyamalan misadventure.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. Glass. Now, this movie is written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, and it stars Bruce Willis, James McAvoy, Samuel L. Jackson, Sarah Paulson, Anya Taylor Joy, and a bunch of more talented actors. Here's your quickie synopsis.
Yes.
Security guard David Dunn uses his supernatural abilities to track Kevin Wendell Crumb, a disturbed man who has 24 distinct personalities. Now, this movie is coming out January 18th, 2019 in the United States. God bless. And we were able to thankfully see it early thanks to our friends over at Universal. Very much appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate you letting us do that.
And when we are streaming/recording this, the embargo lifted dang near 2 hours ago. So the reviews are now coming in. Yes. I'm very excited to talk about this because it will explain, because we were on the stream, we kind of explained what it was like for us to leave the theater.
Yeah. We all there's a couple of us there. We all looked at each other like, hey, we like that movie. Yeah. We enjoyed it. That was an enjoyable movie.
We had a good time.
Yeah, we had a good time. But then as we were leaving, you're all kind of shuffling out and you could hear the people, which were other reviewers talking. And the general temperature of the room was not as forgiving of the movie.
Yeah. It was weird. It was...
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I just saw saw the Rotten Tomatoes score as of recording.
Yeah.
It is it's staggering. It is I find it to be very false.
Yeah.
But hey, that's me. Anyways, here's your quickie. It's at 37%.
Yeah. As of this recording, and again, they've just started aggregating reviews. So it could change. It's at a 37%, which I know does not reflect my opinion of the movie.
No, me neither. And we'll do overall thoughts in a second, but just so you know, we like to stay positive, but we will be giving our honest criticism spoiler-free of Glass.
Because it is coming out later. We will be spoiler-free. So for those that don't know, this is a continuation of a film series that started with Unbreakable, which was M. Night Shyamalan's, I don't think it was his second movie, but it's the one after...
Second big one.
Yeah, exactly, after The Sixth Sense. And then got a surprise follow-up a couple years back with Split, which was a film that at the time did not appear as a continuation of that, but then for those that watched that movie, there's a surprise shocker, a twist at the end for an M. Night Shyamalan movie, and now these films are coming together in the third installment with Glass. So for me, Unbreakable is easily one of my favorite M. Night Shyamalan movies, possibly one of my favorite movies, period. I
very much enjoy Unbreakable. It was something that totally... I have this weird memory of it when I was a kid because I remember the finale of that movie, but I didn't know what it was from or anything like that. So when I eventually watched it, because you had talked about it, I think, and then I was like, oh, it's this. I remember liking it as a kid, and I really enjoyed the movie as well. And Split was a pleasant surprise because I liked M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit, his previous movie Split, because it was a fun surprise.
Yeah. He's found this... by the way, I can't recommend enough. There's an interview with him on Vulture that kind of goes through the highs and lows of his career, and him talking about what a gamble The Visit was. Like he put his own house against it. Like he put his own finances into it. And it was a harrowing experience to try and get it distributed. But he's found the sweet spot of doing kind of lower budgeted, what would be considered B movies, which The Visit and Split were. And I feel like Glass kind of splits the difference between kind of, it feels like more directly a sequel to Split than it does Unbreakable, but it kind of homages some of his older sensibilities.
It does, and I very much agree. Overall, walking out of the theater, I found that I very much enjoyed this movie. I wouldn't call it a home run, or in my wildest dreams of what I wanted this movie to be, it didn't get close to what I thought the heights could be. Yeah, but I don't think that's fair to say about any movie going into it. I think that I'm like anybody, that I have my expectations when I go into a movie. Yeah. But I try to manage them because you want to go in because there's so many hands in the pot when you're making a movie that you need to just kind of drop all expectations and just enjoy a movie for what it is. And for what this was, I found it very enjoyable, and I didn't expect it to try to answer questions because honestly, I didn't have any besides what would it be like if Bruce Willis's character and James McAvoy's characters met. And I got that, and it was very cool every single time that happened. And also, and you get some of the most impressive acting I think James McAvoy is he's in the top 5 most impressive actors that is working today.
Yeah.
Maybe ever, because it's just what they're able to get out of him specifically and all of his multiple personalities is they're all so distinct and fully formed, and they feel like individuals. And how rapid it is that you switch between those is incredible. And also Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah. And there are some criticisms here, but they wouldn't be towards his character. I very much enjoy what they do with him. And overall, where we end up by the end of the movie is not what I would have expected.
Which I would say is probably a strength. You don't necessarily want it to go exactly where you think it's going to go. There are surprise. I mean, it's a thriller. It's an M. Night Shyamalan thriller specifically. There's swerves throughout the movie, and so it goes in directions that are unpredictable. But I think in the end are to the benefit of what the movie's trying to say.
Also, you want it to be big.
Yeah.
But also, you have to remember that both of the movies that came before this are very small.
Yeah, they're very
involve
intimate character
3 people,
movies.
maybe sometimes. Yeah. They're meant to be small and for you to feel like you're watching something. Yeah, like something intimate. And also, this movie has that too. It's specifically studying these 3 characters from other movies and the other people that they've affected in their lives and what that means and what they think of themselves. And so,
which is also kind of an interesting change of pace, because if you look at Unbreakable and Split as kind of character dramas, they really spend a bulk of their time unpacking who their main people are.
Yeah,
that's basically it. They just unpack who these people are, and this movie kind of unpacks them as a group and what they mean to the world around them. And so it's more about the idea than the specific people that we've already kind of spent time with. Going into specific positives, what were some specific positives you had?
I'd say right out the gates is the performance from James McAvoy. And
it's hard to not I would say if you enjoyed Split, you're going to get a lot of what you liked in that movie in this movie.
I don't even know how to describe it properly, because not only is he an amazing actor, it's kind of like telling someone to go see a magic show.
Yeah.
Because of how just you're enamored by him. There's I can't look away when he's on screen because he's so impressive.
And they do some very interesting. They did some of this. I rewatched Split before I watched this movie, and they do some long takes where he changes character, and it's not just the different performances, because he's playing a character from Split that has dissociative identity disorder, so there's multiple personalities inside of him, and not only is it those personalities, but there's a physicality to his main antagonist personality, the Beast, that is nuts. And it looks like at least a solid chunk of that is him acting. And if you're there to see the showdown between Bruce Willis's character David Dunn from Unbreakable and the Beast from Split, that happens.
That does happen.
That is not the meat and potatoes of the movie, because those other movies, it's more about the psychology. But it does happen,
and that's why I think I enjoy this movie so much, because this, like a lot of people say about Unbreakable, is that it was too early. It just needed 10 more years, and then it would have been perfect, and it would have been beloved instead of now it's a cult classic.
Yeah, because it references things that are from the comics that had yet to become movie staples, from comic book movies. Before the screening, an employee from the theater read a letter from M. Night, and it's there's a sequel 19 years in the making, and it's but it kind of feels less like that and more like you just made Unbreakable 19 years too early. If you'd made it 3 years ago, it would have been right in the sweet spot of when these movies were coming out.
I feel like if the perfect way to do this, make these movies within 6 years of each other. So it's you get 2 years and then 2 years. That you would have had enough time. Split would have been a fun surprise, because even if you'd made Unbreakable and then you made Split, it would have still been a surprise, and then Glass would be the culmination of all of that. Yeah. Anyways, that's not the point. The main takeaway is that James McAvoy deserves more awards. He's the MVP in anything he does, forever and ever, amen. But DJ, I know you had some positives.
Yeah, another positive for me is I like it kind of continues some of the themes from Unbreakable and some stuff that was there in Split, and it's kind of this unique fable about believing in yourself, but it has a dark edge, because like Unbreakable, the main crux of that message comes from a dark place. But I like that, because it does touch on the comic book storytelling of the thing that challenges you makes you better. And if you think about it, that was kind of a theme in Split. The things that hurt you, you can use to make yourself stronger. And the dark mirror of that is also, it can be the damaged people damage people.
And Black Panther.
So it's kind of a way of using your traumas or the things that hold you back to make you stronger, not make you evil, basically. And I think the way it hones in on that message, I found surprisingly meaningful. I did not think I was going to go in this movie feeling emotionally touched, and I ended up being touched by a few scenes in particular. Also, mad props to this movie for making you have a lot of empathy for very bad people. Yeah,
it really makes you feel bad for people, and then they do something, and you're like, oh, forgot for a second. Forgot for a second that maybe one of these characters ate people in a different movie. Oops, forgot about that part. If you guys ever watch those movies,
by the way,
I dare you to guess which one does it.
By the way, if you haven't, before you see Glass, watch Unbreakable, then watch Split, then you can see Glass.
Boom. One more positive really quick is to the cinematography. This is the cinematographer who got his big start with It Follows. He worked on other stuff, but that's when he caught the eye of M. Night Shyamalan, who hired him for Split. And now for Glass, Mike Geolikis. I'm going to read that to the best of my ability, but he is extremely talented. It is some of the coolest cinematography to capture action. A lot of the way to capture action properly and make it feel like you're invested is kind of the same way you would capture comedy in these wide angles so you can see it the full field instead of cutting rapidly. But the way they do these rapid cuts to kind of hide the fact that Bruce Willis is older, and James McAvoy looks like a monster, he might be able to actually kill Bruce Willis. So you kind of need to hide that a little bit. But the way that they do is there's a few moments of these POV shots, which at first, if I try to explain that to somebody, if I heard that, I might be turned off by that idea, but not by the way that they pull it off. It is unbelievably impressive, and also props to Mike to capture James McAvoy in a way that makes him look absolutely terrifying. Yeah,
James McAvoy is not the biggest person in the world, but he straight looks like he could rip me in half.
I think he could rip a car door off.
Yeah.
I think he could.
Yeah.
I think not even in a mama needs to save her baby type scenario. I think he could just do it.
So a small criticism, or my main criticism for this movie, and I think yours as well, is this movie does kind of marginalize Bruce Willis, David Dunn compared to James McAvoy and Samuel L. Jackson. It kind of becomes their movie that Bruce Willis is kind of like a catalyst in. And it's for somebody that really enjoyed Unbreakable, it was kind of a bummer. I wanted to see more sad Bruce Willis. You know what I mean? It makes sense because James McAvoy's playing 23 different characters, 24 different characters. And the movie is called Glass. So it is kind of Sam Jackson's show. But because there's so much to juggle, the person that kind of gets left out a little bit is Bruce Willis, David Dunn, which was kind of a bummer, but in the grand scheme of things, not the worst thing.
And I'd also say it's because, like you said, it's Glass's movie. You have James McAvoy playing 50 going on 100 characters.
Yeah,
and it just keeps
and we
going.
got David's story.
You did.
We got a full, complete David story. So this is more like a check-in. You know what I mean? Just to check in, see how he's doing.
But also, with Split, it's this is a villain origin, and so is this one. It's the villain team up, and so with that, the hero would get sidelined in that, or they just become secondary character, which David does, and David Dunn did, and I would like more, but I wasn't upset with what we got from him because his scenes were still meaningful, and you're right, he did go through. There was an arc. Yeah,
it's kind of like The Dark Knight. It's what's the one bummer of The Dark Knight? Batman kind of gets overshadowed by Heath Ledger's Joker, but also, of course he did.
Yeah,
of course he did. Did you see that performance? Of course he did.
I would have asked for more Joker, honestly.
Yeah. So we always like to do a fun rating system for our movie. We don't want to just do the standard 10 out of 10 or whatever, right? So it has been 19 years roughly since Unbreakable.
Ridiculous.
So out of 19, what would you give Glass?
Well, ridiculous the fact that it's been that long.
It's been that long. Also about props though, because back in the day, back around when Signs came out, he was like, yeah, I want to do Unbreakable as like a trilogy. And now, I wasn't able to because at the time it wasn't successful. You know what I mean? Which is funny because now it is a cult classic.
I don't think it was a failure, but
compared to Sixth Sense, you know what I mean? So the way people viewed it then, and also Kevin Crumb, who was the antagonist in Split, was originally supposed to be. He was in the script in Unbreakable, and because there was just a lot, he got cut out. So 19 years to make this happen.
I'd give it 17.9.
Nice.
I think I'd give that 17.5 maybe to be a little bit more fair because I don't think it's stellar, but it's not a bad movie. It is a very much enjoyable movie, and I would own it.
A letter grade. I almost bought Split. I'm like, no, I can guarantee they're going to come out with a Blu-ray set with all three of them, and I'm going to want that.
I'd give it then. It's just barely teetering. I'd give it an A-.
Okay.
possibly if I let the some of the negative stuff I kind of sit in there, maybe a B+.
Yeah.
And that might change, but it's like I honestly don't think there are that many flaws in this movie.
Yeah.
I just think there are things I wish were better, but it's like they're not problems.
And I wonder if maybe some of the backlashes, because it's different. It kind of swerves when you expect it to. You know what I mean? It kind of gives you a different movie than you might have expected. But for me, I would give this. It's like in the same level as Split. For me, it's a solid B. It's a very enjoyable movie. It's a movie I'm excited to watch again, especially within continuity of the other movies. I think of the three, Unbreakable is still easily my favorite.
Oh, we should rank them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's. But I would give it a solid B, which is what, like a 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 17. So I'll give it a 17.
Yeah, probably. You know, we don't do math here, but okay. So for you, it's Unbreakable,
Split, and then Glass. But Split and Glass are very close together.
I would do that, but for me, they're all basically like
right on top of each
just
other.
A turtle's kiss apart from each other. You know, those are small.
Those turtle's kisses are tight,
really small.
But we'd like to know in the comments down below what you would say on the box. Wait a second.
Yeah. What would you say on the box? Most importantly, I'd say. Wait, I was thinking about this earlier because I wanted to plan it out. Was no, wait. You say one. Hold on.
Okay. What would I say on the box? Wow, crazy that this finally happened, right?
24 out of 24 distinct personalities.
Agree.
24 out of 24 James McAvoys. But then I put 24 little pictures
of James McAvoy. Yeah. But let us know if you see it, if you're excited to see it, and if you do see it, what you would rate it, and what you think of the other movies. And if you see this without seeing Unbreakable and Split, you're a crazy person.
You're crazy.
It's not like Avengers Infinity War. There's only 2 other movies you got to watch.
And unlike that one, there's no post-credit scene.
Oh, by the way, yeah, if you were wondering, there is no post-credit scene, so there you go.
There you go. Get out of there.
But go ahead and watch the credits anyway, because a lot of people worked hard on it.
Go wash your hands. Go pee. Wash your hands after that. Or before. But do it after, too. Most importantly, to stay up to date on everything we're doing, hit that like button, mainly because we like when you do that. Also, hit subscribe and the bell notification. But also go to onlystupidanswers.com to stay up on everything that we're doing. You can go ahead and listen to the podcast there. But also on patreon.com/onlystupidanswersdj.
Yes.
Where can they click that right now?
You can. I think you said it was right here.
A little higher, a little to your right. A little higher up. That's about right.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, so click right there. And also know that our live shows have moved to 3:30, a half hour earlier, Wednesdays on twitch.tv/playnoggin, and Thursdays for Super TV Showdown, also on twitch.tv/playnoggin.
We'll see you there.
Bye-bye.